Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to the Economic Development for Harlem Piers Community Meeting. Today is November 8th, 2023. We do have a quorum, but we do have a quorum, and the time now is 6:48. Well, let's take a look at the agenda, please, and see if there's anything that you want to add. I do see some documents on the table. Do we want to add that to the agenda? Someone going to make a presentation about this?
Well, item number 4, it seems as if we have somebody lowest spending making a presentation. The items on the table have to do with an item we took up last month having to do with our calling for accounting of the CDA monies earmarked for Harlem Piers Park from the Department of Arts and Recreation, which I've done some research on, and these documents representation of that research.
So would you like to make a motion that we add this to our agenda?
Well, I can.
What are we adding once again?
Research on the accounting of community benefit agreement funds.
Okay.
That have been going for the last 15 years, since 2009, the signing of the agreement, from Columbia University to the Department of Arts and Recreation. I agreed last month that we wanted to call for an accurate accounting, as what we got from them last spring were estimates. That's one of these documents here. Okay, so I move that we introduce these documents as an agenda item to the meeting.
Okay, so research on the accounting of CDA funds from Columbia University to Parks.
Yes.
Okay, anyone second that? Second. Thank you very much. We move forward. All right, so that's added to the agenda as item C. Okay.
Then I move that we adopt the agenda.
Yes, then we need to, yes, anyone second it? The adoption of the agenda?
Yeah, second.
Okay, thank you so much. And let's take a look at the minutes. Has anyone had an opportunity to read the minutes? If you have, if someone makes a motion to adopt the minutes. And if you have any corrections to be made, please let us know.
Did I propose edits?
To the other one.
Okay, that's this.
Yeah. But you got it.
If a few more minutes, if someone can. There are no corrections to be made, so I'm moving a motion to adopt the minutes.
If no one objects, I'll move to adopt the minutes. Second.
Thank you so much. Okay, the minutes have been adopted. We're supposed to have a presentation by Ms. Lois Bennett. I guess she's on her way, or is she online? So, subcommittee reports. Any reports from the subcommittee? We know that you are.
No report from the events committee. Subcommittee.
All right, so we now go to on business. I put this here, the community needs assessment, only because at times, we will need to meet outside of our, meeting time and dates to deal with issues. So I tried to communicate with people, because it has to be late or whatever, but, I didn't get much support. I didn't get too many people who responded to the, call for us to meet to discuss the community's benefits. But again, many of you knew, so it's okay. There are things that we needed to do, and, I wanted to go over simply how it goes. Because there's the general need statement that's written, and then there's the expense and the capital, that we needed to have discussed and approved. We needed to have created, discussed it, and approved it, and ranked it. We didn't get a chance to do that, so I'm hoping to bring that back up later on, so that we can start early, understand the process, and, be ready for next year. John Martin Green did, create blocks of items, but we would need to have, put them either in expense or capital, and then put, which agency would be, responsible for that. So since there are not too many of us here today, I'm going to suspend that, for later on, because we still have a year to get ready.
Because the district needs statement has already been.
It's already submitted, I just wanted to
But just so, in case it's not clear,
clear the
um,
process.
as I understand it, the district needs statement every year, the city, as part of the city budget, city budget priorities, community boards, each of the community boards, and all of the committees within the community boards, list, priorities to fill the voids within those communities. And some of them are capital, maybe capital expenses, we're recalling for funding to do brick and mortar stuff, to build things. And other is for program expenses, programming that we determine needs to happen in order to improve the quality of life of the community. And those items are voted on and submitted as part of this district needs statement every year. Does that make sense?
Well, I remember seeing I remember getting an email about it a couple of weeks ago, I think. But it said like urgent, came from Victor.
And I think Victor, I had sent out several,
I responded, it was a narrative that was a couple of pages long. I didn't see any budget. Maybe I missed it, but it was a narrative.
yes, that was the first part of the narrative.
But that's what you wanted me to comment on.
Well, that
It
was
like,
after,
you said urgent,
right,
and I'm like, okay. Cause he was here that first meeting where he introduced me and everything. He didn't say anything about it then.
no.
You know what I mean?
So what also happens is that we have our meeting before the announcement that committees should hold their meetings and talk about the needs assessment. But we always do it before that, so that always throws us off, because it's done, the announcement comes afterwards. But, I had sent out email, but, it's done, we'll, as we move forward, we will get to it, but, John Martin Green gave a really good summary of great summary of what it is that we're supposed to do, because that's our main job here in the community board, to advise the council members, as pertaining to expenses and capital, needs in our community. Right, so we'll go to that as well. So, the next one is 2024 Business Development Conference. We all said that we should have this conference in January. But we need to start now, as we all know, because the days are flying by so quickly.
They are.
So I just brought a couple of things for us to discuss and to move us along. Okay? So just to try to create a strategy for how we're going to do this. I think we discussed that this was to help grassroots, home-based businesses and individuals who want to start a business. So that's what we're targeting. So we have to determine our goals for the conference, right? So what would you all suggest as the goals of the conference? Educating people, right?
Well, yeah. Make sure everybody knows what kind of business form they want.
Part of education, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Do they want a partnership, LLC? And then what kind of, payment they're gonna take? A lot of real small people use Venmo or, you know, or the other one on the internet that's,
Cash and
Zelle, yes, or Zelle. So if we could like introduce those, the pros and cons of those, and how banks handle those. That would be very helpful.
all right, so in general, would you,
Things like that.
okay, would you agree that in general terms, our goal is to educate the people who have a business, small business, as well as those who aspire to have a business, to inspire people to have a business, you know,
Yeah.
and to connect, help them connect, network, you know, so that they can find out who's in the community that's probably doing what they're doing, or that can work to increase the capacity of what they're doing. So maybe those three goals, what we want to do, and that will inform, like what you're saying, the things that could be that we have. Okay?
Do you want to invite Daryl Downing?
Okay, so let's keep that there. We're gonna come back there.
Okay.
So who we're going to invite.
Okay.
Okay, so our target audience, who are we targeting? I would say, like we said, home-based businesses, those people who aspire to have business. I would
Small
also say,
business, like the, you know, like people who are. Some people want a business,
Mhm.
some people have very small businesses that would like to get to the next level,
right,
you know?
Exactly.
And so those are the two, I mean, like,
and
people who are doing $1 million a year, I don't think,
no.
they don't need us.
No, they don't need us. I think we should also focus on nonprofits as well, because sometimes when you see small businesses, nonprofit organization falls off, you know, because when you
So
start with,
for profit and nonprofit.
yes, for profit and nonprofit.
Really? Okay,
Yeah.
all right, okay,
Yeah.
I see those as two different animals, but okay.
Right,
You want to,
right, yeah. Oh.
huh?
I really are, but you know, if we get them both here to the conference, there are people who want to start a nonprofit and don't know how to. There are people who have already started a nonprofit and just like, you know.
Don't you think that's two separate conferences?
Well, the thing is, do we have the capacity to hold two different conferences within this year?
That's a good question. I hadn't thought of that. All we talked about at the last meeting was small businesses, people who are, you know, what do they call the solos?
Well, so what we talked about vendors.
Yeah,
And we talked about what I call kitchen table businesses.
Right.
Which are basically businesses that are run out of people's homes.
right.
Yeah, and many of those are nonprofit.
Yeah.
Kitchen table businesses, yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. But I concur with you completely that they are, different beasts in terms of, how they operate, how they, are funded,
Yeah,
you know, how they marshal resources
Yeah.
and manage the resources and like that. But where we were talking about, to use Joyce's language and really smart language about grassroots business. Grassroots entrepreneurs. Many of them, while vendors might be for profit, other grassroots businesses, small businesses, many of them are not for profit entities.
So we've identified our audience. Yeah, okay,
I mean, but now to Chris's point, it will crafting a conference or mounting a conference, conceiving, designing and implementing a conference for these two different kinds of entrepreneurs. Is that an ambitious undertaking or overly ambitious undertaking, considering our infrastructure, as it were?
well, if, let's say we were to open up with a speaker who talks about the various legal entities. That we talk about now.
Okay. And I guess that all of that depends on our goals. Right, what it is we're looking to support.
So,
Okay.
right, identifying our goals, educate, inspire, and connect.
I think also, perhaps, just as you say, having someone come talk about, different types of business models, and to the point that you made several minutes ago about different, along those lines, LLC as distinct from, an S corp, or, yeah.
So,
Right, that's right. Intellectual transfer, invite. We should also look to offer referrals, resources. So have people present who from the community.
Yes.
Like Harlem Community Conservation, like community improvement,
That's all I can
business providers in the community that work with both for-profit and nonprofit entities providing services. You know, for their businesses, there are a lot of people don't know.
There offers
that offers the very good office space
Uh-huh,
at very reasonable prices.
okay. Are there any business incubators in Harlem, in West Harlem? We need to, that's some research that we can do,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So one thing I'm wondering is, like, there's the whole city small business agency, and I think one of my concerns is that I don't know a small business. Like, are there experts who are there who we can use as resources?
Absolutely.
SBA, Small Business Administration, okay. And will be able to send someone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's the context you got, but in the meeting, yes, yes, so we can put that down. So, conference theme. I'll just throw one out there, it's not written in stone, okay? Came out with empowering grassroots entrepreneurs. It's not written in stone, it's just an idea, y'all can break it up or whatever, it did not give me sleep last night.
Grassroots entrepreneurship, empowering grassroots entrepreneurship or entrepreneurs, okay, you empower. Yeah, entrepreneurs, I guess. Go ahead. So the point that you made a few minutes ago, at the top of this conversation, encouraging entrepreneurship or inspiring entrepreneurship might be.
Inspiring entrepreneurship. Inspiring. What about those who are already? Inspiring.
Well, they need inspiration too, because most people, start out these businesses, they don't succeed.
Do you need to
Like
inspire
90%
them?
of businesses
Or do you need
fail.
to empower them?
Well,
Because you inspire them, say, hey, you could be great, you can do this. But if you don't empower them with the tools and information that you can take them up to high level, so you want, they will still crash.
oh. Basically, crash, I mean, I don't know. To me, entrepreneurship is something that sounds great in theory. Heavy on the words in theory. But I don't know whether I have any kind of service or product that people are gonna want on a consistent basis. And, whether I will be able to deal with business cycles and, it's just a lot.
So the job of the person who knows, the one who knows how to talk very well and show you your gifts, to inspire you to believe that, yes, you can do well and you can start a business. But the job of SBA or those who get grants is to empower you with tools.
And resources that you need in order to
You can get loans.
run a business.
I'm really impressed. I mean, I'm on these email lists. And I get these emails all the time about loan. The first meeting I came to, the young lady here had some very attractive loan packages for businesses. But you had to be in business for 3 years. And then show them 3 years worth of business records.
So that's another information, that's the kind of information we're gonna have to come back.
Right, exactly. One of the people we can have come back. And then
And she
another,
was from
UMass,
right, Upper Manhattan Parliament.
right.
But if we can have somebody who would they award some of the loan to? If they're one of them, like how did, what was their journey?
Right.
Okay, because it takes a lot. We're here in New York City where the cost of living is very, very high. And, I know I've met a number of people, oh yeah, I borrowed $80,000 from my grandmother and, I'm so happy, I paid it all back, and blah, 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 and I sold the business, right? Everybody doesn't have it like that,
Right.
and so.
So their story will inspire you to want to do what they do. However, UMass, if they were to now do a walkthrough of a grant application, they're now giving you the tools of how to. Right.
I fill out the application properly, yeah, and you have to, and then again, to have a good loan application, that means, like I said, you got to have your business records done professionally and nicely, which means you took your money and got a CPA to make your business records presentable so that you have the credibility with the lender. So, you know what I mean? So
That's very important.
Also along those lines, a business plan
yes.
to show it.
Yes, and that's why I was opening my computer, I just got these things today from Daryl Downing, he's so busy. Well, he must have a business as a private, Chris. Harlem Business Alliance Alert, HBA, Harlem Business Alliance, will host a 2023 business pitch competition, Thursday, December 14th, 2023.
See,
So Harlem Business Alliance, Small Business Administration.
So he must know some successful business people, because they've been doing this for a number of years.
of course, yes, that was a good thing about it too.
So if we can get some of those people, he must know some people who sort of started with this a little bit and sort of succeeded. If the,
Harlem Congregations for Community Improvement.
are they involved in business?
Well, they are involved in making grants to nonprofits.
Oh, okay. Now, I'm not challenging you. My impression of them was that they've been around for a long time. Aren't they really concerned with housing?
And that's,
Yeah, like affordable housing?
yeah.
That's
But
what
they
I
also
thought.
also make grants to nonprofits. Yeah.
I met the guy once or twice at a conference somewhere, Malcolm Punter.
No, I'm blanking on his name, but yeah.
But anyway.
Sorry, what's Daryl's last name?
Daryl, I'm sorry,
Downing.
Downing.
Okay. So have we agreed on the theme? So we'll move forward, now with content for that. Which is a whole lot what you can say.
I'm sorry to talk so
you know,
much, but like,
No,
do you want this to be like in the morning, a lunch break, and then leave, cut it off at 3:30 in the
I think
afternoon?
it will be like that, so what do I think about, we have a keynote, we got keynote speeches with people, right? Then we'll have some panel discussions. And then some workshops, right? And then the Q&A session, and then networking opportunity.
I like a networking reception at the end.
That's nice, yeah, that's what we have to do with the big thing.
Yeah.
And I remember when we did something similar when I was in the arts and culture committee. We had the breakfast for people, we had the lunch, we had a little reception at the end. We had various keynote speakers, we had the discussion, panel discussions, and all that sort of it. Well, so now all the people that you're naming now, we'll put them into, these various categories. Yeah, so that is going to be the keynote speaker. Who's going to be like panel discussion. The workshop, that's where people break off to learn different things, based on what they want to learn. So we will have to come up with the topics and subtopics for that. And then
Topics, subtopics, but also, people who have that information to share. Yeah.
and we have a whole definitely calling SBA. We should also have, they changed their name, it used to be DCA, Department of Consumer Affairs and Consumer Protection, Department of,
Cultural affairs?
no, Department of Consumer Protection.
Yeah, no, it's Department of Consumer
They
Affairs.
changed it,
I thought I worked with them
You did.
years ago.
With the Department of
DCA.
Consumer and Protection, thank you, Department, yeah. They talk about licensing. They're the ones who get licensed. And
License issuance division
I
of
think
the
they're so important
Consumer Affairs.
because there are people out here getting licenses and taking people's money. And
Oh, you mean like fraudulent? Like,
yes, yes.
from years ago, I mean, this was before the COVID, but New York City was thriving and, like, you go out at lunchtime in Midtown Manhattan, downtown Manhattan. I'm talking about, you see all these vendors on the street, food and different things. It was not easy to get a license at that point because there were so many business people on the streets. And I seem to recall that, do they give a preference for veterans?
Yes, there is a preference for veterans. There's yeah, there is.
I don't know what it's like now.
It's still the same, it's still the same.
Yeah, but people have not come back to, so many people are working at home. It's not the way it used to be.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
Yes, a lot of people are cooking from home and, sending out, having people come to deliver,
yeah,
pick up and deliver to them, a lot of people do that.
yeah.
They were doing that even during COVID.
Oh, yes, that was exploding during COVID as well.
CBS Sunday Morning this past summer, they had, one of their segments was on the new hybrid work one. Many people post-COVID, go into an office perhaps 2-3 days a week and otherwise work from home. That's a new that's part of the new normal.
So we invite our expert speakers, our panelists. And we have to fill in those blanks. Who are the people that we're going to invite for the workshop? Now, that's the great handout, of course.
Well, let's, is it useful to focus on topics? And then from the topics, we'll know, have a better idea of who to bring in.
That's a good idea.
I mean, like
The
marketing
topics
is a
should
big.
go out of the goals, what is, again, what are our aims? So education, one.
Inspiration, make connection.
We can, so many people would like to. You know, for most of these businesses, very generally, they wanna make sales, so they need help with marketing, or they need to know. Where to go, or how to find the right audience for what they've got.
Right.
Is it gonna be
Right.
something from social media, or do they need to know where to go to find out about all the street fairs? How do you find out about all these street fairs? Where do you go to get that information?
Right.
Some people know.
Some people
already,
know, some people don't.
And then most people don't know. You know, things, you know what I mean?
That's a great topic,
Season, y'all.
what was that one?
Like marketing, sales, just to let people. Give them some ideas of how to find out. Now, if you call, I guess, they probably have some people in the small business. The small business commissioner would have some people in there who could help you, give you some pointers on that also. But for each topic, you know, if you can have just one person who's been doing this, and you say, well, this is how I did it, this is what I found, this is, you know.
Marketing, you know, for most part, you can have someone talk in general about marketing,
Yeah.
you know?
Mhm.
Whether you are a home-based tech person creating stuff, or you're home crocheting things, you know, or you're a food vendor, or whatever, you know, you still need basic understanding of the power of social media and marketing. How do you market your? Yeah, we've gone nuclear. It's not, I mean, we've gone digital, you know, but but we're not, I mean, the best thing is not to just put all in one basket, of course. You still
See, people need to know that,
Exactly.
but some people know how to make good use of these little community newspapers.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, the man.
Those are the, you know, the things that. Should be talked about. I think that's a great idea to have a marketing this.
So, goals in education, inspiration,
Connecting,
resources.
resources, the connecting is, thinking that we invite people like Darrell, and so many other people, right? Who will have their hands up to give to people. Okay, either this, you know, even the Women's Chamber, Harlem Chamber of Commerce, of course, UMass, I believe, should be one of the people who will present. They should also have their hands out to give out to people. So people who get loans, we could have banks there as well. Those that we know can get small loans or,
Remember Harlem Chamber of Commerce?
yeah, that's what I said. I hope we can see them. Go on there.
But I can just say,
Women
we just,
Chamber, yeah.
you can just have some people who can. And be around and say, listen, I started my business, all I had was $3,000. You know, and this is what I did, you know, this is something people can relate to. You know, not somebody who's got a McDonald's franchise or a Dunkin' Donuts franchise. Those people already have a lot of money,
But also,
even though those are small businesses.
We
But they
might
already have
have-
a lot of money.
might we want to have, some franchise owners be among panelists or others who make presentations to people, because you hear about people who start working in those kinds of fast food outlets and work their way up to management and then become franchise owners themselves. I mean, they're more the exception, certainly.
Yeah, the exception, quite the exception.
Yeah, but
Right.
I'm not crazy about that because there is a whole thing, I mean, like they have like a franchising expo every year. And, you know, I think it's probably someplace like Vegas, you know, where they have, you know,
gotcha.
and franchising is a good thing for the right type of person. It can be a great thing. I mean, you're already into an established plan that's going. But it takes resources. I mean, even these little small Dunkin' Donuts. I mean, $1 million to get started. I mean,
It's really.
yes. And well, you know, you're coming in there all day and all night, getting the coffee and the little dry sugary donuts and stuff and everything else that they have.
Clint is laughing because he's the first one. He's the first one in.
Also to put the dry donuts in.
Well, he's young and slender, that's all right. But yeah, I just,
Okay,
whatever. Those are just my 2 cents. I don't have a business.
I suppose the other thing too is that, you know, there's a decision of who we are, you know, giving a strong endorsement by inviting to, like, you know, put on workshops, but then there's also a bunch of people who just invite to come to the networking session, you know. Maybe we have, you know, invite franchise owners to come chat with people, but don't necessarily give them a bigger platform or
I see what you're saying.
good idea. You're thinking, yeah.
And then we also,
I'm really looking. People looking at her.
and then we have to also think about ourselves, how we're gonna be marketing, promoting this business. This is your memo already. So we need to make a flyer if they keep. Not before the flyer, now you need to start to the contact. But with dummy flyer. And so I think we have to work on several processes, not several things at the same time. That's why committee members need to be here. So that we'll know who is the person who's going to be looking for people to contact, they bring it back to our meeting. Who's going to be doing the flyer, you know, designing of the flyer. And researching how do we get it out there as well. We have to do our own marketing, research is the best way to promote and market what we're trying to do. You know? States, we also have to have somebody who's searching for states, then we should have someone as well who'll be dealing with refreshments. Where should we get the refreshment? What should it be? So that everybody that's up to do it, we're able to do everything at the same time.
But where would you wanna, first of all, where would you even wanna hold it up here? You wanna be in this,
Well, and this is all of us, I'm saying all this so that we don't throw everything on, John Michael Green, that's chair of events, and be like, well, John Michael Green is the chair of events, go do everything, you know?
no, I got you, so I just wanted to get a couple of alternatives of what spaces would be available and good
We
for.
have to know what it is we are doing in order to determine where best to do it. We need to be clear about that, and we've done some brainstorming along those lines over the last 20 minutes. Up to and including, a sort of, outline for, what the event might look like. So, the last thing that was said along those lines was that it might be a day-long conference, you know, with a morning session, lunch, and then an afternoon session. So that kind of model, you know, will dictate the kind of space in which, you know, but also, when you're talking about where Joyce proposes breakout groups, that will also determine what kind of space is needed. So, Do you want just a big open space, or do you want a space where there are rooms into which groups can go? For whatever allotments of time we determine are appropriate for workshops or breakout sessions. And with a large convenience space in the center or something like that. What kind of spaces like that are in West Hall?
Well, we have the community benefits agreement, so we can host it at the forum, theoretically.
There you go.
So someone has to
I
hold the
was,
seat.
I was thinking about Columbia,
Yeah,
but
and if it's on a weekend, there would be tons of classrooms open, so even the main campus would work.
absolutely. I mean, there's also the NAC at City College.
Yes, I was thinking of that.
And other spaces at CCNY. We have a few colleges in the area, which would be appropriate, potentially appropriate, but, how many people are we?
So your ideal people, so like ideally, would you like to have 100 participants?
Well, see, that's where I was about to go to.
A flyer or the email ad or whatever you're gonna put out. You have an RSVP. So like register, free, but must register. Absolutely. So we know who's coming and stuff like that.
Yeah, this is, the second week of November.
Right.
I wonder at being able to mount a conference in less than 2 months. You know, conferences, people typically do, they take a year to plan a conference. While a conference could be, depending on the scale,
Yeah,
again, how many people we're looking to attract. How many participants we're looking to attract, from West Harlem. Are we inviting people from Central Harlem and Washington Heights as well? Will they be welcome? I should think they might be.
the only hitch is this event gonna be in English language? Which I assume yes, since all of us are talking in English, but we're using these other.
That translated, yeah, probably,
You know,
and not just Spanish, but different African languages as well. So,
French is
you
not
can
an
do
African
tree,
language.
you can do tree,
No, I'll do Yoruba.
okay, you can go,
but
Swahili.
I mean, you know, that's.
Ga.
God, okay.
I agree that I do kind of share some of the concerns, that when I hear Congress, I think very professionally run events, they think 2 months is a short time frame and therefore people.
Yeah, especially this November and December, holiday months, I call them.
Yeah, I agree with you, yeah.
So we can shoot for April?
Yeah, I guess one thing I'd also wonder is like, I think one of the things I'm struggling with this, that I don't actually know many small business owners, and I wonder if there could almost be a smaller, like, just like Mixer, get to know us event where we can use them to ideate and like give their suggestions. And then we can kind of come back, you know, April or something like that with the larger event that's more informed by what they're saying. That's an idea, people.
I think it's a good idea. I think, because that will require research to identify, businesses in the community, who might function as, not just, insofar as helping us to identify the needs that we are going to be responding to with the conference. We're going back to the goals, but who might also serve as, resources during the conference in terms of information transfer, you know, skills transfer. And perhaps. Joyce said like that.
No, it's fine, it's just, let's also remember that every day businesses are closing in our district because of lack of, resources, lack of knowledge.
Gotcha. So you're talking about urgency.
There's an emergency.
Lack of resources or lack of knowledge?
Some people don't know where to go.
Oh.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Good evening. How are y'all doing? I was invited to this town meeting because I work with the Ladies of Hope Ministries, and we recently received a grant from the West Harlem Development Corporation. And what the Ladies of Hope Ministry does is we seek to eliminate incarceration and recidivism amongst women and girls. And we do that, we're based out of New York. And we do that through resources, financial literacy, digital literacy, job placement, public speaking, just everything that someone would need to stay out of prison. As I said before, we're based in New York. We are a nonprofit, and we've been running for about 4 or 5 years now. Arlene and I have been invited to this meeting just to kind of network with you all. And I believe by March, we have to produce either a program or a function specifically for the demographic in West Harlem. So we have been working on that as well to bring our resources specifically there, although we're all over New York, but specifically to have a program within West Harlem. We've been going strong. We have a partnership with Grow with Google, where we're teaching, we have a partnership with Google, with the Grow with Google program, where we're teaching financial digital literacy skills and the like. We have a partnership with NFL and many others. But as you all are speaking about, what can be done, I think it would be great for us to work together to make that happen, because we had already planned on doing that anyway, and we can be of source to you all to make that happen. Arlene just put our website in the chat room. I'm not sure if you all will be able to click on that because you're not connected, but it's the lohm.org. You can see all the work that we have been doing for the last 5 years, 4 or 5 years. We've been impacted many, many women and reducing recidivism through our work and our efforts. So we look forward to just impacting West Harlem specifically for this particular grant. And look forward to working with you all. Any ideas or suggestions? We've already began to research with specific places where we can have workshops. We've been doing research on demographic, the women that's there, who needs our resources, who needs our services. And so we plan on doing that and launching that early next year. So that's why we are here. We have kind of, I guess, been mandated to show up because we did receive this grant.
Are you Miss Benavidez? Arlene
No, I'm
Benavidez?
Miss Lewis. I'm Lewis.
Trish Lewis. Okay.
Yes.
Miss Lewis, I don't see you on our agenda. You're not here on new business, old business? How did you drop in on the Economic Development Committee?
I said we were invited here. I'm not sure why we weren't on the list, but we were invited to be a part of this meeting.
Ma'am, hold on one second. There's some confusion here. I don't mean to be disrespectful or anything. I'm across from the chair of our committee, and she's saying, like, who invited them? We don't even, I'm just confused.
So as Ms. Lewis proposes, all West Harlem Development Corp funded entities are mandated to participate in some committee meeting.
Okay.
So it's.
They picked this one?
I don't know.
No, we didn't pick it. No, we didn't pick this. This is what they gave us, all the information to just show up here. And as the gentleman said, we were mandated to show up here tonight. So we're just here to represent the Ladies of Hope Ministries and just fulfill the grant that we have to do the work specifically in West Harlem.
Well, hello, Ms. Lewis.
Hello.
Ladies of Hope Ministries. And congratulations on the work that you're doing and on your funding from West Harlem Development Corp.
Oh, yeah. That's nice.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
great.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations.
And thank you for the work that you're doing. It's
I
important.
appreciate that. I would, encourage you all to go on the loam .org. I think you all will be impressed with the work that we have been doing. We have been definitely lowering the recidivism rate throughout the New York area, although our program is nationwide. And so me specifically, I'm the director program for Faces of Women in Prison, which is a speakers bureau for justice impacted women. So that's really our demographic, is justice impacted women and girls, to make sure they don't go back and they have all the resources that they need to be successful in their lives. So yeah, I would encourage you all to just check us out, and see the work that we have been doing. And this funding is just helping us extend that reach and extend that work that we have already been doing. So I mean, I really look forward to uh, being there in West Harlem, although I'm based in Atlanta at the moment. I'm originally from the Bronx, New York, and I moved down here for school. Thank you. But I definitely, I'm sorry?
Yes.
Oh, Fordham Road. Fordham Road. I graduated Fordham University, and came down here to go to Georgia State University. And I was stationed here too, as well, from the military. So I was stationed in Georgia as well. So I made that transition, but I still wanted to do work in the New York area. And so that's what I have been doing personally for the last 4 years, working with justice impacted women and girls who have been incarcerated.
Okay, so, take my email down because you're going to need your, document to be signed, right, by
Your
chair,
attendance form.
your attendance sheet, right?
Oh, okay. Yes. Yes, ma'am. I'm ready for it.
All right, it's Joyce, Joyce, A as in Apple, D as in David, E as in Edward, number 6@gmail.com.
I got it. Thank you for breaking that number military style, those letters. Joyce, ADE, Apple, Delta Echo 6@gmail.com.
That's correct.
I got it. Thank you so much. Appreciate you all letting us drop in on your meeting. I just wanted to introduce myself and what we do and why we're here.
Thank you. We will go on your website and, take a look and see, how we can work together.
Okay. I look forward to that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you.
Where are we in this agenda? We're on the new business part?
No, we're still in the old business, talking about the business
The
development.
business development conference, yes.
Uh, we're talking about, where will we hold it? How will we get the people, who are the people that we're targeting?
How many
How
people?
many people? That's why it's important. I think it would help us if we were to put the profit and nonprofit. Rather than just separate them. You know,
I didn't.
if the conference would involve the profit and nonprofit businesses, you know, then we can get more numbers, is what I'm saying.
Ostensibly. I mean, so, once we are clear about, our goals for the conference, our aims, what we're looking to, how we're looking to be supported. And then identify a venue that is appropriate for the structure of what it is we're looking to offer. You know, small business entrepreneurs, aspiring business entrepreneurs. Then there's a whole lot of marketing that we have to do in order to attract people. You know,
That's true. That's true.
and by a variety of different means. You know, people who operate kitchen table businesses or businesses out of their home, are differently situated and have access to different, information streams than people who have brick and mortar businesses. you know, or street level vendors. For that matter. That designing a marketing campaign that will reach and attract.
Well, for example,
Different kinds.
like, would Cordell Clear, I'm sure she has an email list. Would she allow us to use her email list to send out a blast, you know, this is what we're having, this is the day, it's free, if you want to register. You know, once we get the flyer, you know, it has to be sent out.
Right.
So we need people with the email list.
Yep.
And things of that nature,
We'll be able to put it up on like the electric marquees and stuff.
Mhm.
Too, like that.
what are the?
Like the
Lincoln was,
the link NYC things.
So, you know.
Oh,
the
yeah,
kiosks-
yeah, yes, how do you do that? That's a good idea.
the
I think
community board,
board says it's-
Oh, okay.
they send information to them. You'll do it.
Oh. Okay. Is it better to have it at the beginning of the year? No,
It's
because
in
it's
April.
April, okay, all right,
Is there more time?
okay, all right, well, you can sort of, yeah, get ready for summer, I guess, or is it big?
Yeah, I'm great, it's getting ready for summer.
Okay.
So, let's just recap, so. We identified our goals for the conference, is the educating, inspiring, and connecting attendees. We, decided on our target audience, that's the, nonprofit and for-profit businesses. We decided on a theme, which is, empowering grassroots entrepreneurs. Content. We said we would have various learning styles and preference that would include keynote speeches, panel discussions, workshops, Q&A sessions, and networking opportunities for reception. We also talked about promotion and marketing. And
You got all of that?
and
I think you said business formation too.
right, that will come within the meat of this whole thing, it's just the skeleton. On the side of, not the subject that we're gonna have, as people who are the keynote addresses. In that. Then, marketing, our promotion marketing. Yeah. Once everyone is able to access the, your minutes, then we can start pulling in names next week, next month. Knowing the various, who's gonna be the keynote speakers. The panel discussion will probably have it, how they do it. Yes, the panel, the workshops.
You know, Melba,
Yeah.
she's very popular.
Yes, he is very popular. If you have time to do
You'll
that,
have time to
he's
do it.
very popular.
One,
Yeah.
are we going to have, will the funding be provided by the board, or where will we be funding for the refreshments?
Yes, the community board, as long as we don't go overboard.
Okay,
Yeah,
do you know roughly what budget would be?
it depends, they get between, between 1,500, it depends on if all the committees, it depends on how much they have, right? And then, how many committees request for funding?
Yep.
So they like to share the money among those people who request funding. And also, they also look at the, magnitude of whatever the project is. That will determine how much is given, so we may be lucky and get up to 3,000.
Okay, so somewhere in the range of 1,500 to 2,000.
So we can build up on what we have so far. And then when we do our evaluation and feedback, we'll see how well we did. With that, right? Yeah, All right, so, everybody's good with that? Then
Yeah, do you wanna have the evaluation after every session? Like you have a session on marketing, the evaluation, you have a session on business formation, have them write up that.
depends on who,
Cause they would be commenting on the speaker and the questions.
so we can divide ourselves again and say, okay, you take this one, you take that one, you take that one, so that the burden is not on.
Well, yeah, no, not all on one person, no, but I'm just,
You can do that.
I mean, like, then we would have like a little pile of evaluations for this workshop, a little pile of evaluations for that workshop.
We can,
So be a
you
little
know,
more detailed.
if, we can create, surveys,
Uh-huh,
you know,
yeah.
and give it to all the participants, you know, when they attend the workshop, what do you feel about it, you know, whatever. Every event that they attend, every activity, they can do a small survey, and we have to make sure that we collect it from them,
Yes.
you know. So we can do that. And now we'll go to the research on the accounting of CBA funds from Columbia University to Parks and Rec Department. Take it away, Mr. John Martin Green.
Okay, so. Last month. We decided we should outreach to. Department of Parks and Recreation Commissioner Sue Donahue. For an accounting of monies, CBA monies, that have been going from Columbia University to Department of Parks and Recreation for the maintenance of West Harlem Piers Park. I recall that, having taken out that charge, that we have been pursuing this accounting from this earlier this year. Which is how Movida got this estimate. If you look at this document here, that, of course. This plate we proposed looked like it was written on a typewriter. From Steve Simon of the Department of Parks and Recreation, he's an operations officer. He gave us this estimated budget for fiscal year 23. FY 23-24. John Carroll, Riverside Park Administrator. If you look at this letter, he says, since West Harlem Piers Park opened in the fall of 2008, the annual supplemental funding from Columbia University has been used to enhance the care and programming of the park. The annual use of these funds has been held consistent from year to year as follows. Use of Columbia funding for personnel assigned to West Harlem Piers Park. Columbia funded maintenance and operations personnel assigned fixed posts to West Harlem Piers Park, including 4 year-round city park worker lines, 1 year-round gardener line, and 1 seasonal cities aid line to assist with summertime cleanup. Columbia funded personnel also include 1 seasonal programming associate line. Columbia funding includes 4 year-round parks enforcement patrol officer lines assigned fixed posts. I guess that means they have to be there regularly. The West Harlem Piers Park.
That sounds very good, and I'm glad you were able to get this here letter. Does this correspond to anything here?
Fairly close, yes. With some exceptions, which are called to our attention by former Economic Development Committee member Jonathan Siniger. So if you will look at this third document, the letter, the Economic Development West Harlem Piers Park Committee member, Honorable First Chair Victor Edwards, Jonathan, this was back this past March. I've reviewed the information submitted by Steve Simon. Unfortunately, it doesn't answer some fundamental questions. And it does raise some serious questions regarding the administration of the West Harlem Piers Park and the Department of Parks and Recreation's role in funding critical needs for the park. It says that in John Harrell, that's this report. Community reports of Community Board 9. In the first section, use of Columbia funding for personnel assigned to West Harlem Piers Park. The number of personnel 9 concurs with the departmental estimates for fiscal year 24. However, if indeed the Columbia funds are applied to the 9 personnel for the park, then why for departmental estimates for fiscal year 24 are the 9 positions removed from the budget for a net decrease of funding of $734,239? That's a figure that's listed here.
I'm not understanding that. Okay, so the money was for the 9 people.
Mhm. The
Then-
9 positions that
As the estimated.
John Harrell got.
But then they said the positions were removed from the budget. Did you pay for these people or not? Because we're already in FY 24, aren't we?
So these are among questions that we should be
Because
asking.
FY 2024 started October 1st, right?
For the city, FY 24 started
July 1st, right? Yeah.
July 1st. So we're in FY 24 now, so we really don't have to deal with estimates no more, do we? Don't we have?
Well, that's why we're calling for detailed accounting in the first place.
I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
I guess I'm still confused with, like what the discrepancy is, because right here it says 9 full-time employees, it's 430,000. And then in the right column it says the same thing.
Right, $430,260, right?
So where's the,
I don't know where he got that.
okay,
Yeah, it's not,
Because
if you go to the
the
second
amount
middle of this
In
page,
terms of the subtotal, it's
yeah,
$734,239.
but how is it that he got that it was removed from the budget? For the same amount. The last sentence, then why for departmental estimates are the 9 positions removed from the budget for a net decrease?
If you go to departmental estimates, 2024, right? And you go to where an increase or decrease, you see that 9 has a minus 9.
Wait a minute,
oh, I see, that's a change, that's not the amount.
9 minus.
And you go all the way down here. you
Oh,
see
yeah,
nine
to
minus-
the right, yeah, that's so
Right.
small, well, it's so poorly done for us.
So there's
Oh.
0, but that says there's 0 every, not just the 9 employees.
Wait a minute,
So,
it says 9
you have-
minus 9, and then the figure is 734,239.
No, there's minus that.
Yeah,
Like that's
minus
saying
that.
that's-
So then they didn't spend, what did they spend? 734,000?
Well, that's what we need to find out. But that's just for 1 year.
Yeah, it's just for 1 year.
We want an accounting, or I thought what we said last month, at last month's meeting, was that we were looking forward to an accounting
From
for
06.
all the monies.
Yeah,
Since the CBA was signed in 2009.
2009.
That's 15 years.
Yeah, it's a long
worth of
time.
accounting.
Goodness, yes.
Okay, so shall I continue? In the second section, Jonathan proposed use of Columbia funding for non-personnel expenses for West Harlem Piers Park. The Columbia funding is used for non-personnel, or that's other than personnel, what's the expense? Expenses to enhance the daily care and upkeep of the park. These expenses include maintenance, supplies, equipment, materials to preserve and enhance the natural elements, streams, and other supplies. The Columbia funding also pays for contractors to maintain the park. However, from the Department of Parks and Recreation fiscal year 21 annual budget, annual report, cites spending for all 4 quarters to be $3,435. I don't know where he got that from.
And why is he jumping back to FY 2021 when I thought from the beginning? Jumping,
Well, he has seen estimates for years that I don't have, evidently. According to Steve Simon's email dated March 10, 2023, to Victor Edwards, OTPS costs for supplies and maintenance of vehicles is an estimated $50,000. There appears to be a sizable gap in what is accounted for in the DPR annual report and the estimated figure provided by Steve Simon. In the third section, the Columbia funding also supports free public programs at West Harlem Piers Park. In 2022, there were more than 75 events from May to September. He says, note in 2022 programming was also supported by the Riverside Park Conservancy, resulting in lower than budgeted charge to the Columbia Supplemental Fund. As clearly stated, not all events are funded by the Columbia Supplemental Funding. Clearly stated, excess Columbia funds are carried over from year to year, but it's not clear, however, the amount of these funds. I'm not sure from Steve Simon's email that he even knows. In addition, supplies, tools, and vehicles purchased with Columbia funds are used in other parks. New York City Department of Parks and Recreation should present an actual ledger. This is what we want. This is getting more now. An actual ledger of accounts for revenue and expenses along with cash on hand for the past, he says, 10 years. The community board has identified several critical needs the Department of Parks and Recreation has not responded to. One, the need for safety for pedestrians and bicyclists, given the traffic of the entrance and exit of the West Side Highway. Two, public toilets. Now this, I think we got some, did we get those? We got the 45. Okay. If the park is used so heavily, then where are the public toilets? We've been requesting 45s for years, no response. Recently, an article appeared. Okay, so we can go 45 is. Hey, future uses from the restoration of the kayak launch to the reuse of the marine transport station will attract more park uses, requiring the Department of Parks and Recreation to address multiple issues. B, a major issue to any kind of public toilet is access to infrastructure. There's none within the park. However, there is a park house for maintenance workers at the north end of the park. His understanding is that the former police precinct, which undoubtedly has the necessary infrastructure to accommodate residents for the staff. So he's proposing that some of that money could be used for a brick and mortar bathrooms rather than porta sands. I do not think it is a big leap to consider public restrooms near this park facility. This should be studied. Free public access to the water. This is an issue that has been cited by the CB 197A plan, the CBA, and the Declaration of Covenants. CB9 is a co-signatory to the Waterfront Alliance. Vision 2020 New York City Comprehensive Waterfront Plan and Reach 4 and Reach 5 particular issues are addressed to improve West Harlem Piers Park. A, Reach 4, West 125th Street. Explore provision of boat storage near existing launch site, consistent with criteria described in the citywide strategy. Activate West Harlem Piers Park's excursion boat pier and ferry launch. Reach 5, West 125th Street to West 140th Street. Find appropriate use for the dormant marine transfer station at West 135th Street, including public access. Explore mapping as Parkland, West Harlem Piers Park, and the North River Sewage Treatment Plant access road areas. All right, well, before I propose suggestions about all of these. In conclusion, he says, I don't think meeting with Steve Simon around the table would address any of our issues. I think the committee, CB9 leadership and local elected officials should convene a mini workshop at the site, West Harlem Piers Park. The agenda would be outlined as above, hopefully to the Department of Parks and Recreation and Economic Development Board and others would come prepared to address the community's repeated requests. What do you guys think of this letter and these proposals? Insofar as our continuing to press for an accounting of the community benefits fund, community benefits agreement funds that have gone from Columbia to the Department of Parks and Recreation over the past 15 years and counting.
Well, you never got the accounting.
Right.
You never got it. This is just a bunch of rigmarole, runaround.
So, I think the issues that Jonathan Senegal raises in this letter could be included as part of what we're calling for accounting on and proposals for how, CBA, Harlem Piers Park monies, might be spent moving forward.
I still don't quite understand some of the discrepancies, but I might just have to look at this myself later on.
Good, because I think your eye will serve us better than mine on this.
I mean, yes, I think it's.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Where is your smile telling us?
I'm mad.
I mean, I think there's, you know, a lot of good points about how we need to look further back than just these last few years. Especially since it seems like one of the major points was that, they were putting very little money into events in 22 and then started putting a lot more in 23 according to this document. So.
Yeah, but 15 years of the last.
Right, like, it might be 15 years we're skipping on it, and then, like.
We don't know. I don't know what happened. There's no clue. No clue.
That's right.
Because they provided no information.
That's right.
And, you know, I don't understand, whatever.
And none of this information is. Like, none of this is like publicly available, it's all stuff we'd have to like ask for it, right? Like, there isn't some are online. It's always made up.
That's a good question. As the CBA funds, as the community benefits agreement, is a public facing document. I should think accounting for CBA funds would be public information. So it's not like we're asking for
But
a
Columbia
date
University
from the department.
Columbia University is writing a check to someone. They darn well have a record. Okay. I mean, they had to write a check of $500,000 or, you know, $250, you know, and then another $250 to New York City Department of Parks or sanitation or whomever. They have a record of it,
Well, perhaps one would think they ought to,
you know.
to the extent that, they're doling out the CBA funds.
It's their money.
But, well, no, it's our money.
No, but it's what they agreed to spend, and so it couldn't be just, oh, we don't know what happened, we don't know. Come on.
One would think but to the extent that they are have been giving the money to the Department of New York City Parks and Recreation. I think their disposition is that it's their responsibility to account to the community, West Harlem community, for how they've been expending those monies.
And it's only recently, and it's only, what does it say, 2023, and then I.
It's funny, yeah.
Well, I will disclose something, even though we're not voting. But, right, let me just disclose that I do events in the park. Do events in the park, well, not this park, Jack Robinson Park. So I have dealings with the Department of Parks and Recs. So if there's any voting, I will have to recuse myself. Not that I benefit financially.
So what was your?
Why would you have to recuse? Just so that. Oh, just like that.
Oh, okay, well, then you don't have to recuse yourself, you know, if there's no financial benefit.
Is there some kind of conflict of interest?
Right.
I have to look into that later on.
Okay.
With one big show. Not just when I'm.
Okay. For what you said so far, I don't see a conflict of interest.
So, moving forward then, and pursuing an accounting of the CBA funds, over the past 15 years, from Columbia to Department of Parks and Recreation for the maintenance and upkeep of West Harlem Piers Park. Would you be willing to review Jonathan's, the discrepancies that he points out? And perhaps assist me with crafting or recrafting of this document? First of all, do we agree that this document is a useful structure for our pursuing the accounting? I think some of this language is spot on.
Would this be repurposed into a resolution, or what form would we be changing this to?
Well, I don't know if a resolution is necessarily indicated. I mean, the chair of the board was here. And, encouraging our continued pursuit of this information for the department to provide.
Yeah, I remember he was here. Vince
Say it again?
was here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we get some sense? I'm wondering if we, I just feel, what if we're be out on the table? What if we're really being given a runaround here? Is it possible that we can ask, you think that, the New York City Controller could get this information from the Department of Parks and or Columbia University? So I think they're just gonna give us some more runaround. You can go back and forth sending them letters and then having them decide how they want to respond, talking about how many free events they do and well, this is kind of show that we might be able to give you and maybe a couple of years down the road. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, hey.
But then that would require a letter to the New York City Controller.
Yeah, I mean, a letter will be written that way, but
Right.
that might not be bad place to start,
Yeah,
because then we, you know.
I think they were gonna give, I think they're gonna give Brad,
they're gonna continue to give us the run.
they gave us the runaround.
Estimates. Right.
I feel, well, but this has been going on since '06, you said? No, 09, I'm sorry.
We're not-
Since '09, that's so very, very long.
That's 15 years.
And, but Brad Lander's office has the resources to dig into it for all 15 years. They have the resources to do that. Us sitting around here, we don't have those resources. You know, that's what I was just wondering what people and what Vince thought of that, would think of that. 'Cause he seems to think, you know, what do you think of that?
You mean, Victor?
Victor, I'm sorry.
You're not sorry, you won it. You don't feel me for the money.
Okay, thanks. But I'm just wondering what, you know, if anyone has,
I think it's a good idea too. Clayton and I both.
So everyone is not recused somehow.
Good, good, then.
Yeah.
All right, yes.
I mean, I think also like, we'll probably be writing a similar, you know, we need to compile what we know and what we currently think, you know, regardless of who's recipient of this.
I agree. Okay,
Yeah,
but I would it be helpful to say that, you know, we made these written inquiries and we're not getting the answers.
certainly,
I mean, what we're getting is like.
which is
woefully
why we're
inadequate.
reaching out to
Right,
his office, yeah.
right.
yeah, we requested an exact accounting, we did not receive an exact accounting. You know,
In fact, we have
You're up.
repeated
Yeah,
over
yeah,
many months,
Yeah,
been requesting this information, yeah. Good, we have a course of action.
because they'll just send us back, I mean, these are interesting points, I don't know all these, there's a lot of detail that Mr. Stinnett, he obviously knows a lot about what's going on,
Jonathan was,
the boat storage and the marine transfer and blah, 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 oh, it's a lot up there.
was intrepid in his research and in his work on behalf of this committee. He was wonderful. All right. Madam Chair.
Yes, please.
All right.
So, Where are we?
We have a course of action, have we?
Yes, thinking of, to get the controller to work for us. He's got, you know, he has like 500 auditors at least in his office.
You make sense when you make sense.
Oh, so, anyway,
I need one. Okay,
let's see him.
all right, so is there any new business? Okay, in the absence of any new business, can someone move a motion to adjourn? Anyone second?
Right, I'll second.
All right, thank you all very much, we did a lot today, great meeting, we can move forward, hopefully
you.
by April, we'll have our conference, you know, just keep building.
You said you could vote on it.
Yes, in fact, I'll go when I get back to my desk.
It's okay for you to vote on it. Unless I can use it by then.
Well, no, I don't really think so. Yeah. Joy,
Yes,
Clinton was asking if you can include digital copies of these letters, these documents in the minutes.
were these documents not public? Okay, you know what, I'll call, you for tomorrow. just
Okay.
to confirm.
That sounds great.
All right.
Thank you.
But you still have that.
Of course I will.
But there was a nice street naming ceremony last week for the lady who passed away a few years ago. She was very active.
April,
She did Riverview Terrace, she lived in Riverview,
oh,
at 139,
59.
139th there.
Oh.
And, Vince was there, and Robert Jackson, and Cordell, and quite a few people came. What was the lady's name? Because I decided to go, because I had vaguely heard of her, but I never really met her. And she's been alive, she was 103.
Oh, that would've been-
Oh, no, she should have died.
Yeah, no, it's nothing that happened to her. Anyway, it was a nice day. So.
Okay, where is Madison? So that we can,
Oh,
to have back. Right on time.
I can see. I was looking at this one.
Oh, okay. Oh, gosh,
She was spying on
And,
us.
yeah, I thought I was eating. I was like, I don't wanna eat.
Right. I'm hungry.
Did you get food from Mofongo?
Yeah.
You did?
Mhm.
What did you get?
It's basically, hey, I only know how to Spanish, pollo al horno, so that's like the chicken.
That's
The
roast chicken.
rotisserie, yeah, the rotisserie chicken, white rice, beans, and then maduros, which is like plantains with the soft one, sweet plantains.
I like,
I'm so good, I'm so hungry.
I like their, arroz con gandules,
Oh, gosh.
con, pollo